working hard on. So with that being said, we're getting ready to present to you the Catholic production of One Feather Method. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Especially since they've got a family in the parsonage again. Our last preacher was a bachelor.
So that's why the parsonage has been closed up.
Yep, roomed up at Sister Jellison's.
Oh! These new fangled shades from Sylvester's fire sale.
Oh, just leave that for the parsonage.
I can't account for the committee's not knowing of our arrival. I sent a wire.
A wire? But shucks, old Elliot, the station agent, can't get anything straight. Lucky Doc Williams and I happened to be stopping by taking his blood pressure when the train came in.
Yes, it was very kind of you to drive us up here.
Coming this way anyhow, I have to stop and take a look at Maud Tucker's varicose veins. Maud owns that little hem stitching shop down at the end of the street. You can see it from here.
That place over there is the Cambridge Bakery. She owns, her sister Cambridge is the head of the ladies' aid.
Sister Cambridge, I see.
Better break your own bread, or she'll talk an arm off of you.
Right kitty corner there is Jellison's Creamery. Sister Jellison is head of the Foreign Missionary Society. If you can jolly her a little, she's good for butter and a pound of cheese on Saturday.
My, that's quite an item.
Yep, lots of other stores are owned by members of our congregation. Some of the folks are nice, and some are just troublemakers. Just like every place, I guess. That's the courthouse, a cup across the street.
A good substantial building.
More than you can say for the church and the parsonage.
Yep, we're proud of our courthouse. Marriage License Bureau on the second floor.
Indeed.
Joe McCaffrey, the clerk, is a solid member of the church.
Well, that's fine.
Yep, when bridal couples ask, where's the nearest preacher, you can count on it that'll send them straight to you.
Did you hear that, Hope?
Sort of makes the parsonage look better, eh?
Let's say it brightens the economic horizons. As for the parsonage, well...
Now, take the floor, for instance. Good, solid. May need a new board here and there.
Then you've got this wide, expansive window. See everything that's going on? Ought to have some fresh air here.
You're very right.
Great carpenter work in these old homes. I know it opens.
I distinctly remember it being open the year Teddy Roosevelt was elected. Preacher leaned out of it to watch the parade.
There we are. Detachable. You get a nice breeze in through here from the courthouse park.
And in cold weather, you've got those patented storm shutters. All you have to do is pull it to and... probably needs a little putty. Over here is the Parsons study. That'll interest you, I guess. Built on by a minister we had 40 years ago. Did all the carpenter work himself.
Holy smoke, what an awful bat cave.
He'll hear you.
Think we had to be yanked out of that swell parsonage in Selbyville for this?
No gas, light, and Hartzell. I'm very much afraid there's no indoor bathroom.
Why can't a preacher just stay put in one place like normal people?
Sometimes I wish Father had become a doctor, like he started out to be.
a doctor and you save someone's life, you can send them a bill. But when you save their soul, you got to starve to death doing you. Take your life and it's a sad action.
How can they furnish a room like this? Do you suppose the kitchen and dining room are as bad?
Probably worse. You got nerve enough to tangle up?
I leave behind our bags, me.
Going to do a little exploring, eh?
Yes.
Fine big kitchen out there. Stove may be a trifle rusty after the last rain. You get some books on the shelves, some little knickknacks around, it'll really make a big difference. Now, another unusual feature are the bedrooms. They're small, not much room for dust.
One preacher used to say you had to go outside to turn around in them. The joke.
I'm sure it was.
You can turn around in them all right. Of course now, bending over, that's another thing. You don't want to look at them now, do you?
There's really no hurry.
Well, tell me the truth. What do you think of the place?
Well, it definitely has its possibilities. There is a lot that can be done with it.
Know what I'd do?
What?
Burn it down and pitch a tent.
Dr. Romer, that's the most practical suggestion you could offer.
Yep. Well, let's move on.
During my ministry here, I'd like to see a new church house built. Not on the narrow lot where the old weather-beaten one now stands, but on a beautiful, spacious ground.
Say, you may have something there.
Oh, Will, that would be wonderful.
And a new parsonage. What do you think of that?
It's a dream to work for. I can face anything now. Yes, even this old nightmare. I'll make a home out of it.
Good for you. Better get over and see Maud.
Give you all a chance to relax.
Relax? Mother will never relax until she turns this place upside down and shakes all the gloom out of it.
And the first thing to go is that horrible monstrosity.
What is it, a battleship?
Battleship? It's a portrait. Will, you have got to get yourself some glasses.
Nonsense, just hanging in a shadow. See as well as I did when I was 20. Good heavens, yes, throw it out.
Mr. Spence, first let's consider the possible repercussions.
What do you mean?
That face you see glaring there from this gold-leaf frame belongs to none other than the great Congressman Sando, the most influential leader in your church of Lydia Sando.
Well, good gracious. Why doesn't she hang it in her own home?
She has one in her own home. This one was a gift to the parsonage. It's hung here for the past 20 years.
It's high time it came down.
Lydia Sando is a woman to be reckoned with.
I'll not be told I'm to furnish my own home.
Her pledge accounts for a good half of the preacher's salary.
I haven't heard. I suppose we should take a broad view of the matter.
I'm glad to see that you're a practical man.
I am Dr. Omer, and my family has to eat.
You'll be wise to stay on the right side of Lydia Sando.
Is she as formidable as all that?
Well, intolerance is sometimes hard to cope with. And she's hand in glove with Major Cooper.
Who?
Cooper, he's the head of your official board.
Why don't you tell me exactly what you mean?
I will. Between the two of them, they've encouraged a feeling of racial prejudice in our congregation.
But that's unchristian.
And inhumane. We've got a little foreign settlement at the edge of town. Some Polish families, some Mexican, who were imported to work at the cement plant, and a few Negroes.
There's a movement among some of our self-styled Christians to run them out of town.
This is very disturbing. Something will have to be done.
I don't envy your job, Reverend. I can cope with bodily ills, but not ructions of the soul and spirit.
I see.
So, my advice to you is, tread softly, be sure of your ground before going ahead. And if you want that fine new church and parsonage to become a reality, then stay on the right side of Lydia Sando and Major Cooper.
Doc, when you've diagnosed a patient's illness, but know that the cure may be painful, do you hesitate about the bitter medicine and give him a pink pill instead?
Of course not. So that's the way it's to be, eh? Good luck to you, Reverend.
Thanks. I think maybe I'll need it.
Sister Cambridge, from the bakery!
I haven't time to hear her troubles. See you later.
So you are the preacher's wife. I'm Mrs. Cambridge.
I'm so glad to know you.
It was nice of you to come see us so soon. We've only just arrived.
Sister Sylvester saw you write about Doc Romer and called me up. And I said to myself, now's the time to
time to go greet those dear people with a loaf fresh from the oven. Thank you. Made from my own recipe. And they do say no one in Lake Town can bake bread like I can. Not that I'm bragging, you see, but facts are facts. My glory! What must you think of us with the parsonage in this condition? I'm sure it's Sister Jellison's fault. That woman can't be depended on to take charge of a thing. Mind the dust and just look at the floor. Really, Mrs. Cambridge, it's quite all right.
A little work and a lot of prayer can do wonders.
Prayer. Yes, that reminds me. Don't pray for me. Pray for Sister Jellison. She needs it.
You think so?
Mercy! Here she comes now with Miss Digby and that sissy son of hers, trying to beat me over here. Yes, sir. Mr. Spence. Sister Jellison's a simple, bossy woman. She says things about me that...
I believe Dr. Romer mentioned that Sister Jellison is treasurer of the Foreign Missionary Society.
Well, yes, but...
Then she's got a right to do a little sinning. I doubt even the Lord would ask a woman to be a Christian and missionary treasurer at the same time.
For my creamery and butter. I'm Mrs. Jellison, and this is Mrs. Digby, who leads our choir.
Mrs. Spence. Mr. Spence, some cold chicken. Oh, thank you so much. This is my son, Georgie. Say hello, Georgie. Hello. Didn't waste any time getting over here, did you?
You have no room to talk.
I'm sure you'll be much more comfortable over here.
Don't look at me like that. You're on the parsonage committee, too.
Now, ladies. So, you're our choir leader.
Yes, music is the very breath of my life. I meant to train for the opera as a young girl, but Mr. Digby put a stop to all that.
Really?
Yes, he married me.
Well, we can certainly do with good singing in our choir, and I must compliment you on your energy in keeping up with the younger folks.
Younger? I'll have you know that I'm the youngest member of the choir.
Dear me, yes, there hasn't been a change in the choir for the past 20 years.
And I've been the soloist for the last 12.
Sunday after Sunday, she's our soloist. Oh, yes, indeed.
It's because of my range. Even Mr. Digby admits it's remarkable. Doesn't he, Georgie?
Oh yeah.
My wife is very fond of music and did a great deal with the children's choir in our last church.
Oh. I myself find children to be much too immature for church singing. Now, my range, perhaps you care to hear?
Well... Quite, and you've been soloist for 12 years. 12 years!
And good for a great many more. Heavens! Georgie, are you catching a cold? Let Mama take you home and brew you some hot lemonade.
Oh, Mom.
By the way, Mr. Spence, my solo this Sunday will be when a mother stills her child.
I'm sure there'll be something to hear.
Something to hear, did you say? We've only heard it about 20 times.
And each time, she gets worse.
Please. You'll excuse me for a little while?
Of course.
Just sit down, dear Mrs. Spence. I declare you look exhausted.
Not at all.
Do you like this rag? We made it in our so-and-so club.
How interesting. to worry about.
I hope the kitchen is in better condition than this room.
The kitchen was your responsibility.
It was nothing of the kind.
Some people always expect other people to do all of the work.
Hello? You're the daughter? Eileen.
And I'm Hartzell.
It's nice to see young ones in the parsonage again. We hope you like it here.
And set a good example for the other children of the parish.
Mother, why did we have to leave Centeno for this?
Even the woodshed would blow down in a stiff breeze.
Now, children. Here, let's look forward, not back. Your father always answers a call when he's needed. And he's certainly needed here. But what about us?
Holy smoke, here comes more company.
Oh, it looks like young ones this time. Oh, come in, my dears.
I hope we're not intruding by coming so soon.
News spreads like wildfire around this town.
By telephone, you should say.
He's my brother, Ronnie, and he's going to be a lawyer someday. I'm Molly, and I expect I'll be the first woman president of the United States.
Well, now.
Don't laugh. I'm serious. Oh, and this is Louise.
My son and daughter, Hartzell and Eileen.
Don't forget about me, Letty Lawton.
I am so glad to know you. And you too. Won't you all have a seat? You can't stay. We just came to
look you over.
Why would you see?
I still say you're not handsome, but Louise doesn't agree with me.
Oh, Molly, I adore a handsome man. They saw you get off the drink. Say, do you play the uke? Yes, I do. Good. I'll be back.
That's Ronnie. When he likes a girl, he lets her know it. Now me, I'm not much for men. Can't be with a career ahead of me.
I understand.
Mr. Spence, I'm glad to meet you.
Hello. It's good to see some young faces on the welcoming committee.
You'll see a couple of quite old ones in just a few minutes. Major Cooper and Miss Sando. He was stopping by for her in his new Maxwell when I came by.
Coming here?
Where else? You're the big news today.
Then I'm getting out of here. Let's play safe and go out the back way. Eileen, I think there's some donuts left in my basket on the table. Like some? You don't have to ask me twice.
Let's have some.
I'm crazy about donuts.
And about Hartzell, too. Or I miss my guess. Men always ignore me, but I'm used to it.
Oh, these young ones.
It's the older ones I'm more concerned about. Mother, we have our work cut out for us in this parish.
Don't I know it?
Good afternoon.
Mommy, present Miss Lydia Sando, widow of the late congressman.
It's good to see you.
Sit down, Mr. Spence. Take the weight off your feet. And from the looks of it, I'd say it was considerable weight.
160, every ounce of it. Happy to meet you.
This is only a brief visit, but busy as I was, I decided to come and look you guys over. You know, my duty to my church comes before everything else. Yes, indeed. Yes,
I'm
indeed.
glad to hear that. It's a pleasure to see my staunch supporters in church every Sunday morning.
Oh no, Sonny boy. I don't go to church myself. Too old. But I do have my morning devotions with my maids and my evening devotions with my coachman, Samson. And I give a generous donation to the church. The Lord will forgive me for not going. You don't agree.
I know we're going to be very happy here, Mrs. Sando.
That depends. The picture's crooked.
How do you suppose that happened?
Oh, yes. A wonderful likeness to my dear husband, the most handsome man in this part of the state, in the entire state.
I'm sure he was.
But he's gone now, so it's up to me to carry on his good work. I claim to
plan?
You'll find we have a lot of worthy plans for this town. For one, Mr. Spence, the cleanup of the foreign section of the town.
You mean better housing?
I mean, no housing at all. Get him out of here. Scum. All of them.
I wouldn't say that.
I hope you don't have any fool notions of equality. Frankly, that won't set very well with me.
Nor with me. I believe people like that should be out of here. The less I see them, the better.
But hasn't our Lord said, love thy neighbor?
Couldn't we save this discussion for a little later, dear?
Nothing like a good discussion when two people see eye to eye. And I'm sure you'll agree with us when I explain the situation.
Very well, very well. You're our major. Yes. If any problems arise in the parish, please feel free to consult me. You'll see my purse is always open to the right appeal. Get that far. Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, those two are our biggest problems.
I'm afraid you're right.
I see now why the Lord wanted me here, and I'm glad I've answered the call.
Maybe so, Will. But it seems that if the call had been very loud, I would have heard it too. Have the others gone?
Yes.
Father, do we have to stay here?
Can't you just tell them you simply won't put up with it?
That's enough, children. Your father plans on a new parsonage someday, and this time we'll stay.
I've heard those words before.
You'll see. But in the meantime, there's quite a lot to do. So, Eileen, why don't you start unpacking those suitcases?
Yes, Mother.
Will, roll up their rag rug and get it out for a good cleaning.
Yes, Mother.
Hartzell, find me a mop and a bucket. Since we have to live here, this place is going to be clean.